Wait till the taxi driver goes. If he wanted us to know about Caroline he'd have told us. He doesn't want us to know, and he'd maybe take it pretty much to heart if he knew we'd followed him. What he thinks doesn't worry me none. I can tend to 3 like him. Maybe, but you couldn't handle 30, and coyotes like him hunt in packs, always. The best fighting pair of coyotes that ever stepped wouldn't have no chance against a lofer wolf, but no lofer wolf could stand off a dozen or so of the little devils. So keep clear of these little rat-faced gents, Bill. They hunt in crowds." Presently they saw the chauffeur coming down the steps. Even at that distance it could be seen that he was smiling broadly, and that he was intensely pleased with himself and the rest of the world. Starting up his machine, he swung it around dexterously, as only New York taxi drivers can, and sped down the street by the way he had come, passing Gregg and Ronicky, who had flattened themselves against the fence to keep from being seen. They observed that while he controlled the car with one hand, with the other he was examining the contents of his wallet. "Money for him!" exclaimed Ronicky as soon as the car was out of sight around the corner. "This begins to look pretty thick, Bill. Because he goes and tells them that he's taken us off the trail, they not only thank him, but they pay him for it. And, by the face of 'em as he went by, they pay him pretty high. Bill, it's easy to figure that they don't want any friend near Caroline Smith, and most like they don't even want us near that house." "I only want to go near it once," said Bill Gregg. "I just want to find out if the girl's there." "Go break in on 'em?" "Break in, Ronicky? That's burglary." "It sure is. I'll just ask for Caroline Smith at the door." "Try it." The irony made Bill Gregg stop in the very act of leaving and glance back, but he went on again resolutely and stamped up the steps to the front door of the house. It was opened to him almost at once by a woman, for Bill's hat came off. For a moment he was explaining. Then there was a pause in his gestures as she made the reply. Finally he spoke again, but was cut short by the loud banging of the door. Bill Gregg drew himself up rigidly and slowly replaced the hat on his head. If a man had turned that trick on him, a .45 caliber slug would have gone crashing through the door in search of him to tell him a Westerner's opinion of such manners. Ronicky Doone could not help smiling to himself as he saw Bill Gregg stamp stiffly down the stairs, limping a little on his wounded leg, and come back with a grave dignity to the starting point. He was still crimson to the roots of his hair. "Let's start," he said. "If that happens again I'll be doing a couple murders in this here town and getting myself hung." "What happened?" "An old hag jerked open the door after I rang the bell. I asked her nice and polite if a lady named Caroline Smith was in the house. 'No,' she says, 'and if she was, what's it to you?' I told her I'd come a long ways to see Caroline. 'Then you go a long ways back without seeing Caroline,' says the withered old witch, and she banged the door right in my face. Man, I'm still seeing red. Them words of the old woman were whips, and every one of them sure took off my hide. I used to think that old Lady Moore in Martindale was a pretty nasty talker, but this one laid her over a mile. But we're beat, Ronicky. You couldn't get by that old woman with 1,000 men." "Maybe not," said Ronicky, "but we're going to try. Did you look at the house across the street and see a sign a while ago?" "Which side?" "Side right opposite Caroline's house." "Sure. Room to rent." "Thought so. Then that's our room." "Eh?" "That's our room, partner, and right at the front window over the street one of us is going to keep watch day and night till we make sure that Caroline Smith don't live in that house. Is that right?" "That's a great idea." He started away from the fence. "Wait!" Ronicky caught him by the shoulder and held him back. "We'll wait till night and then go and get the room. If Caroline is in the house yonder and they know we're looking for her, it's easy that she won't be allowed to come out of the front of the house so long as we're perched up at that window, waiting to see her. We'll come back tonight and start waiting." End of chapter 7.